Hey, it's Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on NewsTalk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. So here's a question. Should those with a concealed handgun license, or here in the state of Texas, a license to carry, should they be allowed to carry those guns inside NFL stadiums and Major League Baseball stadiums? In other words, professional sports stadiums. It's a question that some lawmakers in the state of Washington are presenting. Republican lawmakers, and yes, there are a couple of them, Republican lawmakers in Washington, they are presenting a piece of legislation that would allow those responsible adults who have a license to carry or a concealed handgun license to be allowed to carry those guns inside NFL and Major League Baseball stadiums. That would, of course, mean that if you had a CHL in Seattle, that you could go to a Seattle Seahawks football game and you could carry your gun inside the stadium. For Major League Baseball, Seattle Mariners, same thing. Currently, both the MLB and the NFL say no guns allowed at our games, but this law would supersede the rules by the NFL and Major League Baseball. Let me say this. First of all, we're talking about Washington State. There is no chance in hell that this thing is going to pass in Washington State. So those of you in Washington State can kind of chill out about this. But, for other states who, actually enjoy freedom and the Second Amendment, is it something that should be considered? I present it this way. We have seen in other countries, just this past weekend, we saw a soccer stadium that was attacked. We've seen it in other places before. Going back to 2005, there was a student at the University of Oklahoma who blew himself up just 200 yards away from OU's football stadium while 84,000 people were watching the game. I've gone to many Texas Tech football games living here in Lubbock, Texas. We're season ticket holders to Texas Tech football, and I can tell you that would be pretty simple for somebody to sneak something in, including a firearm, to sneak that into Jones AT&T Stadium, and God forbid it ever happens, they could carry out an evil act. Now, I hope it never happens, but it's something you have to think about. And those who are responsible adults, those who have a concealed handgun license, we think about this type of stuff. It's not that we, just want to carry a gun because it's cool and fun. It's because we want to protect ourselves from the evil that is in this world. One of the concerns that I heard about from one listener, and I've seen concerns from like USA Today, this is a football game where emotions are high and people are drinking booze, and guns and booze and high emotions don't mix. I get that. But remember, if you have a CHL, you're not supposed to be drinking anyway. And who says that when you go to a football game, you have to pay the $12 to $13 for a beer? You don't have to do it. You can make a choice. Many times when I go to a restaurant, if I'm carrying my gun, I don't drink. If I carry my gun on me when I go into a restaurant, I don't drink. I make a conscious decision not to do it. I am being a responsible adult. If I decide to leave my gun at home or lock it up in the car somewhere, and I decide I want to have a beer, well, okay, I've made that decision. At that point, I'm unarmed. I'm not too worried about people getting drunk and shooting each other. Because we're talking about responsible adults. We're not talking about gangbangers here. We're talking about responsible adults who have gone through background checks. Here in the state of Texas, they've gone through a background check from the FBI, and they've made a conscious decision that they want to protect themselves and their family members from whatever may happen at a football game. I've heard some of the national sports guys on radio and on TV say that it's a horrible thing that you should feel safe at a football game, that you shouldn't feel the need to carry a gun at a football game. That's probably true. I shouldn't feel the need to carry a gun at a football game. I shouldn't feel the need to carry a gun at the supermarket. I shouldn't feel the need to carry my gun walking to my car. But guess what? I live in the real world where there are evil people, there are bad people in this world, and sometimes they want to do stuff to innocent, responsible adults and children. And I want to protect myself. And as an adult, I don't think that there's this magical barrier between the football stadium and the rest of the parking lot where everybody else is at. I think it's something that we should debate more about, that we should talk more about this and stop treating these stadiums as though they're little magical bubbles that can't be penetrated by someone who wants to carry out an evil act. It's something to at least think about. It's something to get the discussion started on. Again, I don't see it happening anytime soon, even here in the great state of Texas, but it's something that I'll tell you, I wouldn't mind seeing. If I were allowed to carry my gun to a Texas Tech football game or to a Dallas Cowboys football game, I would actually probably take up that responsibility and do that. Is it because I'm expecting trouble? No. But it's when I leave the stadium and I'm walking somewhere, when I leave the stadium and my family is walking somewhere, I want to be able to protect them and I want to be able to protect myself and others. What do you think? What is the whole idea about the NFL and Major League Baseball stadiums? Should you be allowed to carry, if you have a concealed handgun license, should you be able to carry inside professional or even collegiate sports stadiums? Let me know your thoughts below. You can also find me on Twitter, ChatHD Radio. Let me know your thoughts and have a great day. We'll talk to you on the radio, 8:30 to 11 on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.